First, I wanted to say we're delighted to introduce Mr. Sam Daley-Harris. Mr. Daley-Harris is an advocate, an organizer, and an author who founded the anti-poverty lobby Results in 1980. He also founded the Microcredit Summit campaign in 1995, and most recently, in 2012, he founded the Center for Citizen Empowerment and Transformation, which helps organizations train their members to create champions for their cause, both in Congress and in the media. Mr. Daley-Harris has earned a great deal of recognition and respect for his work. Grameen Bank founder Muhammad Yunus said, quote, "No other organization has been as critical a partner in seeing to it that microcredit is used as a tool to eradicate poverty and empower women than Results in the Microcredit Summit campaign." And Ashoka founder Bill Drayton called Mr. Daley-Harris, quote, "one of the certified great social entrepreneurs of the last decades." So we're thrilled to have you here today to share your insights, and we congratulate you on the publication of your 20th anniversary edition of your book, Reclaiming Our Democracy. We are equally delighted to have former Congressman Mickey Edwards join us here today. Welcome. Congressman Edwards is Vice President of the Aspen Institute and serves as Director of the Aspen Institute's Rodell Fellowships in Public Leadership. He is a Republican member of Congress from Oklahoma from 1977 to 1992, serving as member of the House Republican leadership and as a member of the Appropriations and Budget Committee. After leaving Congress, he taught for 11 years at Harvard's John F. Kennedy School of Government and for 5 years at Princeton's Woodrow Wilson School of Public and International Affairs, as well as serving on faculties of the University of Maryland Law School, Georgetown University's Public Policy Institute, and Harvard Law School. Very impressive. Congressman Edwards also actively contributes to public discourse as the author or co-author of 4 books, as well as weekly political columns for major newspapers. He's also a frequent public speaker and a regular guest on many leading radio and television broadcasts, including, for any fans out there, NPR's All Things Considered. So welcome to you both, and to all of our audience members. Thank you for coming. We're really looking forward to an interesting conversation about grassroots advocacy. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Daley-Harris, who's going to share his insights into empowering citizen advocates. And I would remind you to please just silence your cell phones. Thank you.
So thank you, Susanna. I really am grateful to everyone who's come. I want to thank the Aspen Planning and Evaluation Program, and of course, former Congressman Mickey Edwards. I'm going to start with this. There are basically 3 main messages in reclaiming our democracy. The first one's kind of obvious, that most people feel hopeless and cynical about making a difference with their voice as citizens. The second one's a little less obvious. Over the last 35 years, I've seen people make a profound difference with their government on issues they care about. And the last message is the tough one. And that's the challenge, is finding an organization that offers a deep structure of support that's empowering, that's inspiring, that's really transformative. Or said another way, most organizations, when it comes to advocacy, provide their members with a kindergarten and first grade curriculum. You know, click here, the petition will be signed, you're all done, go back to sleep. And so that's the challenge, finding an organization that offers much more than that. I'm going to begin with 5 very short stories on our predicament. I just finished a 30-city book tour, and these are largely taken from that tour, and it points the hopelessness and cynicism, but I tell them not to discourage people, but actually to embolden them. Hopefully you'll see why in a moment. Last fall, I spoke on 15 college campuses, and I told the students that I'd founded Results 34 years earlier after I asked 7,000 high school students what the name of their member of Congress was, and fewer than 3% could answer correctly. And so I asked the college students last fall, 35 years later, the same question. 10% could answer correctly. 90% could not tell me the name of their member of Congress. Story number 3, in March I spoke at a senior citizen lecture series in Princeton. They get 200 seniors every 2 weeks. I went a month early to check it out. And the moderator says, well, a month from now, we'll hear from Sam Daley-Harris on reclaiming our democracy, healing the break between people and government. And there were chuckles in the room. And the moderator said, yes, this is something we have to work on. But my takeaway is the students are oblivious still. And by this one lonely sample, let's say the seniors in this one sample were what, cynical? Something like that. Story number 4. In March, I spoke at Harvard. I had the honor of meeting a professor of organizing, brilliant person, never heard of Results or Citizen Climate Lobby. We spent 20 minutes. He would say, why do you do it that way? And how do people respond when you ask them to do this? And how does that work? At the end of 20 minutes, he looks at me and he says, yeah, but Congress is really dysfunctional. And I said, yes, Congress is really dysfunctional. And this year it appropriated $1.65 billion for the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. I said, yes, Congress is really dysfunctional. And this year it appropriated $700 million for maternal and child health programs around the world. I said, Congress is really dysfunctional, but if you roll up your sleeves, do your homework, and get in there, you can make some big things happen. Last story. In April, I spoke at Rutgers, and before the lecture, I spoke to small groups of students sitting at tables. I walk over to the last table. The last student says, he says, I'm in an honors futures class. With a view to 50 years in the future, what's the most important issue we could work on? I said to him, well, my friends in climate change tell me if we don't deal with that, we're toast. My friends in campaign finance reform say if we don't fix that, nothing's going to change. My friends in global poverty tell me it's a blight on humanity. But for me, I said, the most important issue is why so few of us see ourselves as change makers? If we could fix that one, there would be a barrage of people into any number of issues. And so I'm going to tell my story briefly of my move from hopeless to activist, from hopeless to change makers. And the story goes like this. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in, I love this part of the story. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in music. And I played percussion instruments in the Miami Philharmonic Orchestra in Florida for 12 years and taught high school music. And then I started a citizen lobby group on ending poverty. And people go, well, what was that about? And what motivated that change? And when I look back in my life, there are 2 events that really had a particularly profound effect on me. In 1964, I graduated from high school. That's 50 years ago. And I played timpani, actually, in the orchestra at the ceremony. And just before the ceremony started, a flute player came back to the percussion section and told me that a high school fraternity brother, a year younger, had died the day before in a tractor-trailer accident in Georgia. It was her next-door neighbor, so she knew before I did. Well, I was 17. And, you remember 17? I mean, for me, it was like, I had forever. I mean, mortality was an irrelevant concept. But during that time, the funeral and the mourning period, after the funeral, I went with my friend's younger brother to collect his report card from the homeroom teacher. It really began to dawn on me that maybe I had 17 more minutes or months or years, and the questions of purpose started coming up. Why am I here? What am I here to do? No answers, but all of a sudden, I've got a new batch of questions. 4 years later, 1968, college graduation day, the night before Robert Kennedy's assassinated. And it's another one of those, what is this life? What is this death? Why am I here? What am I here to do? No answers, but the questions are getting really clear now. 9 years later, I'm a little slow. I'm invited to a presentation on ending world hunger, a presentation by the Hunger Project. And I go to this thing thinking there are no solutions because it's inevitable, because if there were solutions, somebody would have done something by now.